One of my favorite roller coasters, and arguably the best coaster in Kentucky, is Storm Chaser. This is an RMC steel coaster with loads of hang time, whip, and great ejector airtime. When I got off this ride for the first time, I was blown away by how aggressive this small scale coaster is. Every single hill on this ride has sharp and intense negative Gs, so today, let's talk about this ride and how amazing it really is.
Like every RMC Eibach coaster, besides Zadra and Airforce, this used to be an old wooden coaster before RMC came in and worked their magic. In this case, Storm Chaser used to be a CCI dueling coaster called Twisted Sisters, later renamed to Twisted Twins, and both sides of the coaster were named, one called Stella and the other called Lola, and Lola was the one that got the RMC treatment while Stella was torn out. And it's funny, because the station is still a dueling station, so it has two sides, but only one is used. And there's also the fact that the coaster doesn't line up with the gates, and the bright red colors really give Storm Chaser a very odd station. I'm also curious, though, about what would have happened if Kentucky Kingdom went for the Iron Gwazi approach, and used both sides of the track. But anyway, Storm Chaser is an RMC Eibach coaster, sits at a height of 100 feet, so definitely a smaller RMC, reaches a top speed of 52 miles an hour, and has only around 2,700 feet of track, so this is definitely on the shorter side of RMCs. But I wouldn't call it short, it's just definitely not long. And the fact that the ride is as good as it is makes up for that entirely. It also has a total of 2 inversions and features 13 incredible airtime moments, which is all possible through this masterful layout, which we will get into right now.
You start off with a 180-degree right-hand turn out of the station, and that leads you into the typical RMC loud first lift hill, before getting to the top and taking another 180-degree turn, this time to the left, and that's where you enter the first drop. But this is no ordinary first drop. Storm Chaser is way too good for that, so instead you go straight into an inversion, in the form of the barrel roll down drop. And this is one of the main reasons that Storm Chaser is a front row ride, because experiencing this element sitting in the front row gives crazy hang time. After this comes one of my all-time favorite coaster elements ever conceived, and that is this camelback. And this is where Storm Chaser begins to show off how aggressive it really is. The amount of sheer power that this hill has is absolutely insane. And while some may disagree, this is easily the best moment on this coaster, and has so much power and is so sustained. This hill alone is one of the reasons that Storm Chaser is top tier. After this is a fairly forceful overbank, that's nothing special. And then there's the 2 twisted airtime hills. These hills contain so much whip while still providing awesome ejector, and the fact that they're back to back makes the sequence that much better. After this you go into another camelback, which is honestly just as good as the first one, with its out of this world airtime, which would fling you into the stratosphere if it weren't for that heavy lap bar.
Next up, the element names start to get weird. And it all starts with the corked roll, which is a corkscrew, which is overall fun, but compared to the other aggressive airtime moments, it's definitely a weaker part of the ride. And then you enter the element that all the enthusiasts praise, the Trick Track Double Up. This is a double up with both hills being twisted in different directions, and while it is good, it's definitely not the best part of the ride, like some may say. Don't get me wrong, it's still incredible, but it comes nowhere near the power of the first camelback and other airtime moments on the ride. After this, they go into an element which is called a tip out corner, which is really just a double down, and it gives some decent airtime, but it's definitely the most forgettable part of the ride. And the train is almost guaranteed to be slowing down considerably at this point. Then, you go into the last element, in the last weird name, the Fear Helix, which is a helix with a weird thing at the end. And by now, the train is crawling, so this is really just to get the train back into the station, ending this phenomenal ride.
Overall, Storm Chaser is an absolutely fantastic ride, and is my number 1 coaster. The power that this ride has is absolutely insane, and you get absolutely thrown into the lap bar, which I guess is the one flaw this ride has. The lap bars are super heavy, and although the shin guards don't bother me, It's overall a pretty bad restraint. Another one of the best parts about this ride is that it's tucked away so far back in the park and is almost guaranteed a walk on during the weekdays. You could lap this all day if your thighs didn't get sore from that sweet, sweet airtime. And if we haven't talked about this airtime enough, just look at this Coaster Studios clip and see for yourself. Yeah, it's that good. And to this day, it still amazes me that a park this small has a coaster this good. Man, I wish it was at Kings Island. But all in all, I honestly don't have anything bad to say about Storm Chaser, so it's going to have to get a 9.5 out of 10, just because maybe the final two elements aren't as good as the following elements. So I highly recommend getting down to Louisville, Kentucky to ride this incredible coaster.
With all this said, thank you all so much for watching this video to the very end, and we would really appreciate a like and subscribe, and if you want to see a review on any other coaster, then leave a comment and we will try our best to make one as soon as we can. Or if you have a suggestion for any video in general, we will gladly make it. So thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you later. Peace!